You're watching Drink This Tonight, and tonight we're looking at the essential equipment for a home bar. We've covered which bottles you need to buy in order to start your home bar, but we've never really gotten into the equipment, which can be one of the most daunting parts of starting a bar at home. Today, we're going to cover the essentials so you can get going making cocktails at home. So the first and probably most important piece of your home bar is going to be a shaker of some sort, which you're going to use for all shaking drinks. I like to use a Boston shaker. This is probably the most common that you're going to find if you just go to the store and look for shaker kits. But a lot of people also like to use a tin-on-tin setup as well, which uses an actual metal shaker tin instead of a pint glass. So people like that because it doesn't shatter and it's probably a little bit lighter as well. As a side note, I did want to mention 3-piece shakers. These are often found at stores when you're going to just go look for housewares. They're cool to look at sometimes. For example, this is my rabbit shaker, but they're hard to work with, and I want to show you why. First of all, they have a strainer built in, and if you're making a lot of drinks, that can get clogged really easily. And the more important problem, I think, is that when you're actually using it, these pieces get stuck together really easily, and it can be extremely difficult to pry them apart. So I wouldn't recommend mixing them, but if you find a cool decorative one, by all means, put it on your shelf. For all of your stirred drinks, you're going to need a stirring vessel. And this is kind of optional because really you can just use a glass in a pinch. But I'd like to have this. It's just a mason jar, and it's got straight sides, which makes it easy to stir. And it's a little bit wider too, so the ice doesn't get all cramped up inside. Also for your stirred drinks, you're going to need a bar spoon. They're nice because they have this long, slender, cylindrical handle, which allows the spoon to rotate freely between your fingers. If you've ever tried to use a regular kitchen spoon, it just doesn't feel that good and you can't really stir the drink properly. Now they are going to vary somewhat, but they're generally always going to have this same form factor. So I highly recommend getting a bar spoon if you don't have one. In my opinion, the most important piece of your home bar arsenal is going to be some way to measure the liquors that you're using so you can get accurate, reproducible recipes. I like to use this graduated measuring cup, and it has all different types of measurements on it, and I only need one piece. A lot of people prefer to work with jiggers, which have two ends which are pre-measured to a certain amount. The most common ones would be a 1/2 ounce, 1 ounce jigger, and a 3/4, 1.5 ounce jiggers. So you can either buy a set of jiggers or you can use a graduated measuring cup like mine. Next on our list is strainers. So I have two kinds here, and you'll need at least this many. The first one is a Hawthorne Strainer, and it has these wire coils here, which when you pour are going to stop the ice and any big chunks from getting into your drink. If you're making a shaken drink though, and you don't want ice flecks, it's often good to double strain through a wire mesh strainer like this. So when it goes through there, it's going to keep out all the fine particles. There's also a Julep Strainer as well. A lot of people like to have that, and it's used generally to strain juleps or more often just stirred drinks. I find that a Hawthorne Strainer works in place where a Julep Strainer would work as well. So I don't have one, but feel free to pick one up if you'd like it. You may want to pick up a Muddler. It's basically just a wooden, tiny little baseball bat that you can use to crush anything in your drink. If it's fruit that needs to be crushed, or maybe lime wedges or something like that. Not the most important, but it's good to have. I did want to mention a couple more pieces of equipment. The first one is a citrus juicer, which is great because it lets you get nice and easy fresh citrus juice. Always better to use fresh than bottled if you can, and this is a great way to do it. And of course, you have a corkscrew, perfect for serving wine. And that concludes the Drink This Tonight list of at-home bar essential equipment. If I left anything out, feel free to let me know down in the comments. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button, and if you really liked it, make sure to subscribe. Until next time, drink responsibly.